So, welcome back. Incredible action we've seen already so far in Matchday 3. We are really seeing these teams coming into their own, and what a surprise in the last matchup. Seeing Lucky Karaki walking away with the victory after TCM taking the lead at the very start with 2 maps up, sitting on match point for the entirety of it almost, but then let it slip right at the very end. So a perfect play day so far in that aspect, and we still have a brilliant game coming up. Obviously, Kazna crew up against eSuba. 2 very different teams, but still, both wanting the same thing, to walk away with a win here. So already today, seeing some brilliance coming out. But what do you think we can expect from these guys? Who are we needing to really look out for and keep our eyes on?
So we haven't actually seen the proper eSuba yet. eSuba is really led and led quite strongly by Voodoo's their team captain from day one. Obviously, eSuba were in Season 1 and Season 2 of the Wargaming League Europe. They didn't do too well. Season 1 they did better than they did Season 2. But still, Voodoo's is their main man, and he's the guy who makes all the calls for them, often good calls. So last 2 match days without him, last 3 match days without him. Have to see if that makes actually a big effect. I think it will do. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure onto Kazna crew. So far, Kazna crew have been pretty damn good. Although drawing out to Wusa, which is a little bit surprising. I think they maybe should have taken that one.
Ensk was a bit of a misplay, I feel.
Exactly. Ensk was just, I don't know, something. It's like a brain fart a little bit from Kazna, but they should have taken that one anyway. But generally, they are looking like a pretty strong team.
Definitely. So let's actually get looking at those lineups head to head here and just kind of take you through who you guys at home need to be looking out for. And as we already mentioned, the one who really does need the attention will be Voodoo's now back into the lineup for eSuba. One of the leaders, obviously, being part of this. I think he's just come off a holiday, I think it was, or something along those lines. Coming back into the lineup now, so looking like he wants to really pick up where he left off. He'll be with those guys, but who from Kazna crew do we need to be looking at?
Of course, Elian. I mean, that goes without saying. Yeah, so it's Elian. He's a playmaker. He's a very good player. Crux has also been playing impressively. Strange thing to see really from Kazna crew is that at one point Hyber was their main playmaker in that T69. Things have changed. It's now over towards Crux and Elian to do so, and certainly Elian leading that one in terms of results so far. And for eSuba, you were talking about Voodoo's. Definitely think he's going to be a big help. Stenley's also been impressive. Twixo, Mirage have been doing pretty well, so they got a solid lineup altogether. And I think eSuba 2 games now down. They're 2-0 down. Not been impressed with them at all. They've basically just been driven over by the other teams. But as I said before, that team captain probably will help them a lot.
So we are being told by one of the players from Kazna crew how to pronounce their names. He's telling you off basically for saying Brait, where it's Brat, apparently. So like Bratwurst.
Has that got an E in it?
I don't know, but that's how he's trying to tell us to say it.
There's an E in that, mate. There's an E in that.
I know.
There's Brait.
I know. He's trying, but I'm going to ignore him.
Why don't you should change your name back to Runes. That's a lot more simple.
Runes is a much better name as well.
God Runes or Runes.
Runes
simple.
is far better. Yeah. But still, they're the 2 teams.
So basically he's making German Brat, like as in a Bratwurst, right? Yes. German Bratwurst is his joke.
Yes.
Okay,
it's a terrible joke. But let's look at Kazna crew's stats anyway and take you into a little bit more depth with these guys. Obviously, a very brilliant team on the decision making there. Obviously up there because of Elian now within the lineup. A brilliant figurehead to have within that team. Hopefully going to solidify them a little bit. And let's have a little look at eSuba very briefly, because I think the teams are actually almost ready. So let's have a quick glance at eSuba and see what you feel their strengths were coming into this. Obviously, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, because now they have Voodoo's back, the man that you feel will make all the difference. And just take us through how they'll do on Himmelsdorf, because I think they're actually going to be going into this one as soon as they're ready.
I'm pretty sure eSuba is going to be a very hard challenge for Kazna crew on Himmelsdorf. If any map, it's going to be this one.
Well, guys, let's get ourselves ready, because they are almost prepared for the first map here. So, guys, let's get ready for Winter Himmelsdorf. So, welcome into Winter Himmelsdorf, the first map between eSuba and Kazna crew. Kazna crew in blue will be starting in the south, and in the north, it'll be eSuba in red, this time joined by their captain and leader, Voodoos. Can he make all the difference? We've been desperately waiting to see, and what sort of start are they going for?
So not as a heavy push towards that 1-2-3 line like we see some other teams. Instead, and putting all their focus towards the hill, maybe even towards the 8 line. Los Coscos, Mirage, Twixo, Slavistas, and of course, finally, the team captain Voodoos heading all up the hill. Kazna crew doing much of the same. Of course, you got Crux in the middle with the IS-3. Standard hull down position for him. And the rest of the team just filtering off. A little bit of an unusual play, actually, coming out from Hyber, going aggressive straight away, getting himself into a decent position if there was anything there to hit. You know, it's Twixo, but he's only sitting up there in a kind of, I don't know, like around the corner a little bit. You can't really arc your shells around corners. That's the problem there for Hyber. So he's got to get out of there, make sure he doesn't get taken from behind. And he's got to get the crossfire on into the center tanks. But at the moment, eSuba are still pushing on that hill, and that could be a problem for Hyber if he does get spotted.
Yeah, most definitely. He is very much in the open of this square, so could be in trouble if not careful. Stenley very far back this time, playing right from that cap circle. And, well, I'll be interested to see how this one plays out. Crux has been spotted, and actually Crux moving across as well. This is a unique start from Kazna crew. A little bit reminiscent of Kazna of old, but with such a hill presence from eSuba, could this really fall apart quite quickly?
It depends. We haven't really seen that many good hill plays. A lot of teams have been going up there early on, but most of the engagements have been happening further down so far, although Los Coscos and Mirage have caught Crux.
Indeed, Crux is in trouble. He's right out in the open here. Elian and Hyber can't help him. He's been tracked back up and running, though. He needs to be careful now.
And Los Coscos does take a shell for his troubles. 298 damage taken off. Twixo down to 1109. And Crux, luckily enough, getting away with that. The gun depression of the AMX 5100 certainly not helping eSuba at all, but they're already looking like a more assertive team, a stronger team. And Kazna crew know it. They're pushing forwards, though.
Well, let's see if they can make anything of this. So far, if you exclude the fact that Cobra Leon went down, I still think that maybe Kazna walked away a little bit more comfortably from that exchange, but still, maybe out of position a touch and could be in trouble overall. Paluda is keeping eyes on. Couple of shells going back and forth through the center of this map. And Zelian trying to get one back on towards Stenley. Not going to connect though. So, interesting start. Very unique start. Paluda just trying to evade Slavista there. And Los Coscos still up on that hill. No real damage coming in for a little while, though. Only towards Paluda there, that tier 1. That's about it. But whose position do you prefer here? Because it is quite different. It's very polarizing. Hyber and Crux, very aggressive from pretty much the beginning. Is this something we like from Kazna, or is this a bit dangerous?
It's a little bit dangerous for them. They have to make the right call at this point in time. They basically have to engage at the right time, get a little bit lucky, and also hope that eSuba aren't in the perfect positions to deal with him. And at the moment, it does look like eSuba are in a decent position to them. We got Mirage up the hill, Stenley on the right and left, Fluky also in the right position. But these two have been kind of caught out. They do get away with it, though. German Break doesn't peak in time.
Yeah. Remember, they're not doing the work he wanted to. That 5100 split down the side actually does connect towards Fluky, though. So Fluky gets a little bit of damage, follows it up with a second. Can he get a third? That's a big question here. Can any more damage come through? Veko now joins him. It's a bit of a heavy-hitting squad. Elian's in trouble, but Crux has gotten away, and he's got himself a little bit more of a forward position. They are boxing in eSuba, but I'm not sure if they're in the best place to be doing this. They don't really have that much HP left here.
And Los Coscos is basically just pinning down the playmaker Elian in the middle, completely stopping him from being able to do anything. He's just going to get the crossfire on. He's just going to absolutely blow that AMX 5100 away. If that was an IS-3, Elian might be able to get away with it. German Break is on the rotate, though. It's going to be joining Veko, and just from a different angle there, and Crux still in the middle. And the shell coming out, Twixo getting one to the face there, 316 damage received. Both teams actually pretty similar HP, although Elian is sitting on the lowest.
Yeah, definitely. And there's still that little tier 1 battle raging on down the other side. Paluda playing smart, actually going back to the cap, making sure Slavista doesn't get away with this completely unscathed if he does go through. And it's a very important position. Paluda trying to be careful about this, because if they leave that completely open, there is a late game that will force Kazna back down towards their cap and kind of ruined the plans that they may have had in store. So we have to see if this one pays off for either side. And Kazna seem a little bit more passive here. We are seeing the cap getting underway for eSuba, but it's more to draw out Paluda, so we'll skip back over towards that one and see how it's going down. Paluda playing smart. He knows he's got the time to do this. He can go for a little bit of a lap of doom. Mirage will be making the crossover, and Hyber could be caught out here. He's going to have to be careful. Hyber does just about get away. We are seeing the counter cap from Crux. Oh, that's a lovely position there.
It's a really, really good position just behind that place, but he might actually be able to not be in the right position to deal damage. Mirage is being very aggressive in that 50-100 as well. Hyber starting to get himself into a good place to stop Mirage, and that's basically his job. Get back to the cap, get the flank on, and start putting the pressure onto Kazna.
But look at Hyber. He's now got 3 players on towards him. He's taken Fluky low, but this is a split attack from both sides, and I'm not sure if Kazna can keep track of everything going on here. Hyber is buying them time, but he has now fallen. We have one other man standing in the way. It's Elian, the savior before of what was Mousesports, but now eliminated. This could spell trouble if Kazna don't put their attention in the right places. This map is over and done with very quickly.
This is insane stuff from eSuba, looking so strong. Hyber's gone down, Elian's gone down, no tier 8s down for eSuba at all. Fluky though sitting very low, 77 HP. The biggest play from Kazna is going to be in that cap though.
Let's see if they can pull it off. Crux and German Brat both having to do the damage here. They're going to have to keep Los Coscos back, but then have to worry about Stenley, Fluky, Mirage, and Twixo very, very soon. Finally, the backup will arrive. The cap gets a little bit slowed down here. Paluda comes into the action, but Crux might not escape this one. Just about avoids the shell coming from Stenley. German Bray is out on a limb. Takes down Fluky. Good choice of fire. But can they now take down Stenley? Yes, they can! Brilliant work there. Twixo now is the focus fire. Mirage and Los Coscos coming around on the flank. This is game back on, but look how low Kazna are. This could still all be over very quickly, but oh, the fire coming in round from the back from Veko could change this one all up here.
The IS3s have to do this perfectly. Crux still pretty healthy. Not healthy though. 466 left on his tank. Veko's going to be the big playmaker. Still the healthiest of all. 1,005 HP. Perfect play from him, but it's still 3 versus 2. 2 tanks left for Kazna that can do damage.
But Twixo coming around the backside. Crux expected it, but he can't fend this one off alone. 3 seconds on the cap. It gets reset. Paluda falls. Crux falls. And Veko, he got the hell out of there. He went for the rotate, but it was too long. But can he take down these 3 players? I'm not sure.
Ooh, it's going to be a risky one. Twixo's got the perfect place, and so has Mirage. Veko starting to get out of there. Maybe he's going to go for the draw. Twixo starting to edge forwards a little bit more. But yeah, Veko out of position, not in the right place. He should have kept on the cross, and only Kazna only option right now is going for the draw, or Veko plays it perfectly.
Well, he's got Elian to teach them the way, the man who pulled it off when it mattered the most, but I don't see eSuba fully committing to this one. They even look a little bit tentative. Maybe not sure where Veko went off to. Still left on a good chunk of HP, but they are going to go in for the cross. Veko must land this perfectly. He just about backs away. I don't think he realizes they just moved out. Oh, nice little snapshot from Veko, though, catching Twixo. Los Coscos did manage to slip through the net, however. So still, 1v3. Mirage low, Twixo low, Los Coscos low as well. Veko could do this, but you'd have to play perfectly. I think we know what's happening here. Surely going to be going for the draw.
But this is the favor for Veko because he got that shot onto Mirage. He took him down to a one-shot SA-47, just 300 average damage, 208 left on Los Coscos. Mirage 254. And finally Twixo on 115. So with 1,005 HP, he's got a little bit of leeway. He can take down both AMX 50-100s of Mirage and Twixo before he gets killed. And all he has to do is take down Los Coscos.
That's fine if he can. Los Coscos split off earlier on. You can see him, obviously he can't. He is left with pretty much blind vision. Los Coscos might surprise him here. The turret is the other way for Veko. He's going to have to land a 180 shot if he wants to land this one. And here comes Los Coscos, gets the first shot off. But Veko gets there. 1v2 now. If he finds Mirage and Twixo, he can still do this.
He just might be in the right position as well if he can get hull down, although AMX 50-100 has no turret armor to speak of. If it's hull down, it'll be a harder target to hit for these two. So Twixo, Mirage have to play this perfectly. Still a 2 versus 1 for eSuba. 25 seconds left on the clock. And it does look like Twixo's going to be the point man, but Mirage is going to be running away.
They do not fancy the chances, and Veko could have won that one. With a little more confidence, maybe he could have gone for it, but right now it seems that eSuba trying to play the safety game. Veko does finally go on the hunt a little bit, but he might find one, but he won't find Mirage, surely. He is well out of there. 4 seconds left. A little bit of a scrappy battle between these two, and that will be a draw for the first map. A little bit interesting, but not quite the game I expected from these two.
No, I didn't. Well, eSuba had the advantage. They definitely should have won that one. Like it really comes down to, you could see when eSuba were pushing in to stop the cap, one of the tanks went forwards, it drove backwards again. Again, it's this middle ground thing. It should have either just, well, I think personally it should have actually retreated. Never get into a crossfire situation with an AMX 5100 on one side and an IS-3 on the other side. You're just going to be in trouble straight away. So eSuba making a couple mistakes. They should have been a little bit more patient, stop the cap, then rotate around and come from both directions, not just through the middle. So a little bit of a mistake, but great job by Kazna crew to bring that one back. Veko could have won it if he had, let's say, another minute and a half left on the clock. He definitely have, despite being 2 versus 1, 3 versus 1, he definitely had the advantage.
I'll ask you your opinion of that really aggressive start from Kazna as well. Is that confidence or a little bit of a mistake, maybe?
It could have worked. Just the cap, basically. Their play was in the cap. Mirage did a great job coming onto Elian. Basically, Elian had one shell to make. He did it perfectly. He tracked Mirage around the corner, so Mirage missed a shell. If Elian just had 7 shells instead of 6 in that autoloader, it would have been game over and absolutely stunning play from Elian, but he didn't. So Mirage managed to take him down with his 3rd and final shell. So basically that's what the game came down to in the early part. If Elian stayed alive and he didn't take so much damage at the beginning, it would have been another story, I think.
Yeah, it definitely would have been. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Currently 0-0 then after Himmelsdorf. Interesting play from both teams. Not what I expected, as I said, but still, looking forward to seeing what they bring up next on the next matchup here and on the next map. Not sure what that's going to be, actually, but I'm curious to find out what they actually go for here in the next map. Because, you know, what sort of city maps or, you know, or open maps, who favors what on this one? eSuba and Kazna, are they a similar side that might like their, you know, their city maps, or are they a little bit differing on this? I
think Kazna will stand a better chance on open maps. I said at the beginning that if eSuba has a map they can win, it's going to be Himmelsdorf. I think they got some great heavy tank players, and they did prove it then. Just a couple of decisions really didn't help them at all. Kazna crew certainly going to be a stronger team on, for instance, our next map, Prokhorovka. Not in the past, though. They really struggled in it. I mean, Season 1 comes to mind. But it's been a lot of changes since then, so we can probably see a different Kazna crew entirely. In terms of their lineup as well, is pretty different, but not as much as some other teams, for instance, Virtus Pro. But the lineups are coming in. It's going to be a triple T69, double MX 3090, double tier 1 standard lineup from the side of Kazna crew.
Well, not too unexpected, I think. Kazna crew, after the first game, they haven't really evolved much with the tanks, to be fair. They're playing quite normal. We haven't seen a new tank really coming into play yet. I'm trying to think if there's been anything surprising. I don't think there has been. A couple of 110s used at WZ132, I think, was used on mines occasionally. But there's been no real big adaptation on that. It's just maybe the play styles and some of the positioning. I looked at mines, for example, for that mountain climbing position we found from Schnitzel coming into effect. So great. There is some adaptation from season to season, but it's not been too drastic. And I think we have eSuba's lineup here. Any surprises, or is this
pretty standard as well? I mean, if you can call it a surprise, a T32 in there for Fluky and double MX 3090, double TC9, double T1 to support him. So I believe eSuba starting from the south, Kazna from the north, T32 goes over towards the left for eSuba, and Kazna just have to play that first initial couple of minutes perfectly.
Well, let's find out. Both teams are ready. Let's get towards Prokhorovka. So, welcome into the second map. It's going to be Prokhorovka. Currently, we are tied 0-0. No team picking up the initial advantage on that first map. Himmelsdorf and now eSuba will be in the north in red. And once again, south, it will be the blue side of Kazna crew. And let's see how this one goes down. Both teams, are they going for the normal start, or is there any variations you're seeing coming through just yet?
again, the unwillingness of some of these heavy tanks to pick camo despite the 5% bonus camo value is baffling to me, but whatever. It looks like a standard start from eSuba, starting from the north, as you said. I thought they'd be starting from the south, heading over towards the left side. Pretty much the same as we saw previously from Lucky Karaki on this matchup, on this map as well. Although different start from Kazna crew in towards the right of the middle instead of towards the left. So far, no damage either way. Both teams getting the information. Both teams aware of what the other is, although Twixo does get punished.
Yeah, so does Fluky, and Elian's not leaving just yet. He's sticking this one out, and Fluky, he is going down low. He could be taken down. One more shell, and Elian delivers. Nice work initially from Kazna. They even find a tier 1 to boot, and this is a great start for Kazna crew.
That was unbelievable. Fluky, 1,500 HP, absolutely nothing, wiped off the map. And this is going to actually prompt the attack from eSuba from the side.
Yeah, this could spell trouble for Kazna now. They're on the back foot a little bit. Elian will be caught out. He's trying to buy time. He's trying to slow them down, get his team into a better position, and Stenley could fall, and wow, he actually takes one with him while he goes down. 3 tanks now left for eSuba. It's all falling to pieces. Mirage is down and out. Veko, German, Brad doing the work. Hyber in the background. Los Koskos, the next victim, up on board with these guys. Crux doing great work. Hyber follows up with a shell, and surely Los Koskos will be falling any second now. We've even seen the split from Voodoo's. Cobra Leone's going to catch him off, and now just 2 players alive for eSuba. It's not gone well.
Certainly hasn't gone well. 160 HP left on the Los Koskos. That push was basically, they knew there's a very slim chance of it working, but they knew without their T-32 that their tactic would be impossible to basically execute, and B, that they wouldn't be able to push forwards later on.
Well, here comes the final move, and Los Koskos was a lost cause as Twixo looking like he's about to be snapped in half as every single player moving in for that final damaging blow. As one more shell will do the job, and Kazna crew pick up map 2. Faster than I could barely get started. That was unbelievably quick. That first move coming out just sent them spiraling downwards.
Unbelievable how fast that T-32 died. I guess that gives you an idea of where you don't put a T-32. Although, you know, it has to be said, just Kazna crew knew that they had to kill it. They knew it was in a bad position, and they did exactly that. You know, T-69 will struggle to penetrate a T-22 from the front. But because Kazna crew had they were higher up, the angle and the armors are like basically, normally it's something like that, you know, and you're going to bounce. Yep. But because they're on top, it's more like that. You get a 90-degree angle and penetrate a lot easier. Kazna crew took advantage of that, penetrating pretty much every shell with those 3 T-69s, and see you later, T-32. And, you know, eSuba, do or die kind of push. They ended up all dying. So,
yep,
GG.
It's the way it goes. An all-in strat can also all go wrong. So I think the next map is going to be Steps, a bit more of an open affair again. And maybe this time eSuba's slowing things down. And it looks like Voodoo's maybe at the helm, but not steering that ship in the right way at the moment. But it was a little bit of a, not unfortunate, but it looked like Kazna crew knew what they wanted to do from the very start then.
Yeah, they basically had a clear vision. I think if the game had gone on for like another 30 seconds without the T-32 dying, if it had been further up the hill, it would have been hull down. And it would have been able to do what it does best, and that's put the pressure on, hull down, and those T-69s would have been worm's meat because they just would not be able to compete with that armor.
Yeah, so Steps being next, another open one. I don't know if, can we really look into, let's say, Kazna crew being strong on open maps because of that last affair? I kind of can and can't in a way. It's like they played it very well with what they were given, but it didn't feel like it played out like a regular open map. It was kind of like this all-in, done job. Steps being next, is that going to be a similar affair, do you think, or is this going to be a little bit more thought through and well played out by eSuba?
They has to. They are now 1-0 down.
Yep.
Kazna crew looks strong on that open map, but again, as you said, it wasn't really your classic open map play. It was more of just a brawl. So we haven't really seen eSuba or Kazna for that instance on an open map. This could be an interesting one for sure. Personally, I think Kazna are better on open maps than they are on city maps. You know, Elian has been a brilliant player in the AMX 1390s. Crux, I think, is a better T69 and AMX 1390 player than he is a heavy tank player.
True.
Veko, great. Pilauda when he wants to do it. I mean, all these guys are light tank players. The first time I ever got killed by Elian in random battles was a damn AMX 3090. I was like, damn, who's this guy? Because usually you just plow through random battles like nothing, and it's very strange when you get absolutely annihilated. I was like, wow, okay, this is great. I need to step myself up here. But yeah, that's really just give you an idea of what he's best in, those light and medium tanks.
Well, I think we're seeing the choices coming through. Is he going to be championing one of those or going for something a little bit different this time?
So he's playing a Pershing. German Bratwurst is playing a T32 AMX 3090 supported by Veko, Heiberg, Crooks finally in that T69. Of course, the two T1s there as well. Can't forget that, Pilauda and Cobrion. And for eSuba, it's going to be the double T32 by Stanley Fluky and Mirage Los Coscos with the two MX 3090s. Finally, Twixo in a combat tank in the T69.
Thoughts towards the lineups? Any preference to which one you're seeing here?
Double T32, very, very risky on steps. We've seen teams struggle with one T32, so double them might be pushing you over the barrier a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I prefer Kazna Crew's lineup, though.
Let's see if that comes into effect. I think eSuba is ready. We're just waiting on Kazna Crew to give us the nod to go forward into steps and begin the countdown any second now. I'm not sure who I predict on this one, but I think I'm going to stick with Kazna Crew because we are ready. Let's get ready for steps. Third map coming up. Steps is going to be it, and here we go in the south in blue. It's going to be Kazna Crew currently leading one map to the good. eSuba in the north in red, looking to maybe switch things up, but after such a decisive victory on that previous map of Prokhorovka, might be a little bit of a harder task. But what are we seeing from the offset from these two?
So it's predictably the two T32s going left side. They're going to be going hull down as soon as they can. Also Twixo heading over that way as well. Rest of the tanks heading into the middle, and for Kazna Crew, they are going over towards the trench side as well. A little bit unusual because they are playing that south side a little bit harder to get in the position. They could be jumping into dangerous territory if they do get caught out, hull down, and caught into a bad position by the T32s of eSuba.
Let's see if that comes into effect here, because they've certainly slowed down eSuba a touch, and Kazna trying to find a way around Elian, get into a nice little spot here. Looking to cover off maybe the cross towards the others, and you can see the first couple of shells being exchanged. No real connection though, no one taking damage yet. Crux and Elian right at the front, Hyber towards the back, now joined up by German Brat. But as you said, no one fully engaging, but this all-in strategy from Kazna Crew towards that right side. Could this, fall down at all, or is this looking good for them? It's
really risky. If you play the right side, you play the trench side, you're basically saying, I want to go hull down, and at some point, I want to flank you. You're never going to win the hull down thing, so you can already tick that one right off the list. Flanking, a little bit easy for them because they got two AMX 3090s, but so does eSuba. If you pick three AMX 3090s, I'll give them a case because they have three of them and they can be more penetrative. But with two, it's a little bit hard because he does go aggressive, gets spotted out by Krobier, and he's got support by Slavistas and Mirage in the AMX 3090. So this could be the first aggressive move we've seen from eSuba. But a very risky one indeed, as Kazna Crew are over towards their side, but it could also mean that they can get the cross shots on.
This is interesting. Elian going off on his own here, pushing up aggressively, maybe to slow down the eSuba push. I've got to be out this far because there's literally two battles being raged. Mirage and Los Coscos splitting across the map now as Elian push forward toward Fluky and Twixo. Mirage has got there now. Maybe gonna try and challenge down German Brait here, but he's taken a bit of a pattern from Paluda. That's rather surprising, but still, it has left eSuba in an awkward position. They are very, very close to engaging, but no one yet fully committing here. But Elian out on a limb, really.
Yeah, but they can actually just close the net a little bit more. They are surrounding Kazna crew quite nicely. They just need to really, not the position they push into, but the time that they push into. They need to have the turrets and the attention drawn away from them. They need to make sure they get the T-32s right in. The Alien does penetrate the side of the turret. That's the beautiful T-15E2M2 on the T-16, on the Pershing, and the penetration alongside it. But Hyber and Kazna crew, they're going to be coming out with something nice, and it's going to be a flank.
Yeah, here we go. They're going on the flank up in the north. Down towards the south of this, it looks like eSuba's won that one out, but Fluky is now in trouble. He's been singled out. Elian and Hyber, the hit squad of doom, really taking him low. That's another shell connecting. Fluky's down to 357. Where is his backup? Where is the rest of the team? They're being held up by German Bray and Crux. There goes Fluky, and the rest could not get into the action. Stenley is now in trouble. He is down to a whisker of health, now joined by Twixo. 6 HP left. Oh my word, Kazna crew, this is perfectly played. Can they keep this up? eSuba challenging on several fronts, but it's going to be German Brait trying to get into their face, and he does finally take one down of Kazna, but this is unbelievable play from them. And I've got to say, Kazna crew looking very good here.
It's going to be almost impossible for eSuba to get back into line. Lokoskos gets himself lost, blown up, and Mirage has to try and pick up the pieces he can, but don't think he will do, unless he literally Amaraks every single tank.
And he's feeling the pain right now. 3 tanks flying in towards him. Kazna crew picking up that map right there. Steps just literally got gifted to them by some really unique players. Well, there are so many little battles raging on then. It was very hard to focus on what was important. Now, what were the biggest factors to Kazna crew picking that game up?
See, you can actually win with eSuba, what eSuba did, but basically you have to actually commit. You know, send your MX-30 rounds around the side, use the T-32s to go forwards. Fair enough, good enough tactic, but what you can't do is this half thing, because first of all, the T-32s should have been more aggressive. They should have been forwards onto Elian. So basically only putting Elian in the position where he can hit the turrets, also not allowing Hyber to go around. But at the end of the day, it was the MX-3090s that had to be aggressive. They needed to be pushing into the 2 tanks.
Yeah.
Either way, I would have never gone for that engagement if I was eSuba, because you have the T-32s. That's not an offensive tank. Play defensively.
It's definitely not. They played quite offensively, though, which was the kind of baffling
It made no
thing.
sense. They basically allowed Kazna crew to pick their fights. You know, they could have won the game even without Elian and Hyber being aggressive then.
Worrying stuff. eSuba looking like they're more focused.
Yep.
But maybe not towards the right things. It seems that they have a captain now. I think it's very clear they've been going for strategies that
they're definitely better than
before.
they've been so far.
Oh yeah.
I mean, almost beating Kazna crew on Himmelsdorf, coming so
Very
close.
impressive. Very impressive. But still, not quite hitting those markers. I think we can all see that here. Maybe they need to back to the drawing board a little bit, just kind of readjust, look over the game and see, okay, this is where it went wrong a bit. How can we adapt? Because to be fair, the next map coming up was a weakness for Kazna crew looking at this. This was the one where we saw that WZ-132 come into effect. I'm sure it's Elian at the helm of it. I may be mistaken, but I'm sure he championed that, and they tried to utilize it against their previous opponent, and it actually went rather badly. And I think that... Oh, who was the team they just played against that turned it around on Ensk eventually? Wusa. They kind of let it slip on here, and it kind of tumbled.
They
from
just
the back
went
of this.
aggressive at the beginning. They started from the north, and they basically, you drive up towards the hill, and you're on your way to the hill, you have that rock. They 3 MX-9 went to the right, and Wusa would just like turn all their tanks.
It's impressive.
See you later, Vecco. Vecco went down in like a couple of seconds. I think Kazna crew, that's probably the map they threw away the most against Wusa. That's the one I said they should have won. They had no reason to be so aggressive. But we have our first set of tanks here from the side of Kazna crew. Triple MX-3090, double T-32, double T1. Standard.
There we go.
You have 3 or 4 lineups you can take on mines, and this is one of them. A little bit more staying power with the T-32. Still got the triple MX-3090s to get the hill, though. Very, very important. And I think, Kazna crew will be going for that hill at the beginning. Triple MX-3090 well coming out from eSuba. T-69, T-32 waiting for Slavistas, but he is going to be picking a tier 1. So same lineup, although eSuba picking a T-69 instead of a T-32.
Any favourability towards that, or I prefer, pretty much impartial?
I prefer eSuba's lineup, actually.
Okay. Any reason why? Is it just that T-69 a little bit more versatile, or?
Yeah, it's more versatile. There's no reason to have 2 T-32s. Well, there is, but often the T69 can provide something which the T32 can't really, and that's just absolute devastating burst damage.
Yeah.
You have the time between shots of 2.5 seconds compared to 2.9 seconds on the AMX 3090. Huge difference when it comes to one-on-one.
Well, it might come down to that. You never know, actually. It has been decided by those couple of seconds. They make all the difference. So I'm not sure. Are you calling this either way? Because Kazna could win it on this map. They are sitting at 2-0 right now.
They certainly could, but I think eSuba, I've got a hunch, but it's probably going to be wrong in a way, so whatever.
Yeah, our predictions are awful, apparently.
Yeah.
We always seem to get it wrong. But at the moment, 2-0. Tanks are locked in now. We are just waiting for the countdown to begin. Obviously, Kazna Crew now with 2 maps to their advantage. I want to see something from eSuba. They're going to have to put out something pretty big. We saw Lucky Karaki doing something similar just in the last game, but Kazna Crew, very different beast, as are eSuba. And Mines is a very hard one to pull against. If you're against Kazna Crew, they are very competent on this map. So if it's going to happen, it's going to have to be now. So guys, let's get ready for Mines. Welcome into the 4th map here. It's going to be Mines in the north. In red, it's eSuba with everything to do. They have to step up right here, right now. And their opponents in the south, it's Kazna Crew with 2 maps in their pocket. 1 more, and they've got the victory. But what do we see at the very start? eSuba
got the triple AMX 3090s. That's pretty much a guarantee that you're going to be pushing up the hill, as do Kazna Crew, but they aren't going to be pushing up there. So eSuba will have the higher ground, the advantage straight away in this game, but that's also almost a given from the north of this map. Echo is going to be there on the cross, and might have to reverse out of there. The reloads on the MX 3090 is not quite up, 33 seconds on them. And this is basically going to be the plan from Kazna. All they have to do is draw this one out. So stay defensive, use those T32s. Don't take any damage on your AMX 3090s or T69s. I haven't got any T69s, only your AMX 3090s. Just put all the damage onto your T32s, put all the focus on your T32s.
Well, let's find out if that goes actually paying out. It's giving eSuba a little bit of room to work with. That's what I worry about. I understand the reasoning, but it doesn't mean I like it. It gives room for movement, and it gives room for possibility that maybe eSuba could pull something together here. So Cobra Leone will be tucked into the foot of that cliff, or the hill, should I say, where we've got the mines just above. Fluky and Mirage over there. They're aware of at least Stenley now, so interesting play. Whose tactic do you prefer here, the passive start or the more aggressive stand at beginning?
I prefer eSuba's tactic, definitely. Basically, with those 2 T32s, Kazna's saying we can't actually push. How do Crooks and Elian actually push without getting caught out? They can't. I mean, eSuba's definitely missing a trick here. I think Fluky is completely useless to have 2 MX 3090s in this position. There should be 1 in this defilade here, spotting out anything that comes across here. As soon as Elian or Crooks move, you get the shots on, you do some serious damage. Good stuff. Mirage has actually finally realized that he's going to be joining Los Coscos. Or maybe I'm an idiot and that's their plan to have Los Coscos there before Mirage gets into that position.
I'll find out eventually, as there is the movement on the hill. Obviously, Elian and Co still keeping eyes across. You can see them in the very, very distance there. Crux are in the back as well. And I don't like it when Kazna Crew play this game. They almost, they did throw it away against their previous opponents once they felt a bit too comfortable. And Elian now, a man who might be leading these guys. It'd be nice to actually speak to him and try and catch up and see who really is commanding this lineup. Obviously, Elian being a new addition to the lineup, but certainly not new to the scene. Previous captain and leader of the now Denial Esports, previously known as Mouse Sports. But still, first damage against eSuba, funnily enough, the team that did take the more aggressive route. Haven't really kind of found much for their kind of work so far.
No, they've certainly got their work cut out for them as well. I think for eSuba, it's a tricky situation right now, because the problem isn't really that Cobra won't die, because he's in the tier 1, obviously. But what do you actually do after that? how would you engage onto Crux and Elian without taking an excessive amount of damage? Basically, the only way I see in is if they come around, then they drive as far across the cliff, hope that Korean doesn't notice them in time. They can get so much damage to the 3 MX-1390s onto Crux. But still, it's going to be hard because Veko and German Break can come across, but that would be the best idea for them. They'll have the T69 and the T32 getting cross shots onto German Break and Veko. But still the execution will be hard because Koblerone is got the cross. He's going to get the spots on.
Yeah, and I completely forget almost that eSuba have to go for the win here. They can't draw this out. They will lose overall, and there's no two ways about it. So, let's see if they can do anything. As Kazna crew are on match point with only one other option left after this one more map. The Kazna crew basically win overall. So, it has to be a move from eSuba this time. And this kind of makes sense now why Kazna went for maybe a more passive lineup. Playing the more defensive game, leaving eSuba to make the moves. But there is that risk involved, as you mentioned. So many variables left up in the air. 5 minutes and 46 seconds left alive. You told us the options that eSuba realistically have, but it looks like they might be using the northeast side.
Yeah, it's a bit strange what they're doing at the moment. Slowly starting to work their way around. Slavistas and Voodoos definitely want to be going first, maybe for that cap pressure. But the AMX-39s, they're just desperately trying to find a way in here, and it might be the time to shine, because they are going to go down, the flank comes on, Crux and Elian have to react to this perfectly.
Well, let's see if they can. Koblerone will surely fall. He's the tier 1 out position by miles, but the push, it's not stopping. These guys are going all in. Positions are known, but so far not so much damage done. Fluky, Los Coscos, Mirage, all heading into the absolute crossfire of Elian and Crux, but can they find a reply? Can they do the damage? There is fire coming in left, right, and center. Fluky is going low. Veko receives a bit. Elian receives a bit, but look at the HP for eSuba. It is falling away from Los Coscos and Fluky out on a limb now. Koblerone, Hyber, all keeping eyes on, but Fluky needs one more shot, and he will fall, but Los Coscos there soaking up the damage as best he can. Koblerone keeping eyes on, but the push from the hill will begin. But tanks are falling left, right, and center for eSuba. They have 3 left against the entirety of Kazna crew, and Crux is there. Elian's there. Los Coscos left in a world of trouble. What can he do here? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's now Twixo and Stenley. They've got to keep their team alive, but I don't think they can do it.
Hyber's just going to scamper away. He knows he doesn't have the damage to take down Twixo. He's just going to do as much as he can and then retreat, although he's kind of separating Twixo from his team. Seems a little bit stupid, but they have got the win in the bag at this point in time. Stenley's just going to try and avoid to take some damage. Koblerone and doing all he can. Stenley will just dispatch him nicely, and Veko's going to finish him off.
Well, here we go. Veko moving in. Hyber will surely fall now. He's going to be taken down by Twixo, but there's the reply coming towards Stenley as Twixo, the last man standing. 1v4 battle tanks. It's not a good feeling. And well, the first shell bounce is extending the pain. Second will connect, and here comes the third, surely. There it is, as Kazna crew will walk away with the victory, with 3 maps in the bag. Mines once again being the defining one for these guys, but a great performance overall.
Great performance by them.
Yeah.
I thought if eSuba wanted to win it, they'd have to win Himmelsdorf, and they came so close. It was literally about that crossfire, that problem they had with Elian, and if they got those 2 things sorted, they would have been 1-0 up. They would have had an easier time in the following maps. But just going back to Mines, for instance, their idea was right. They basically had no other option. The 3 MX-1390s did it perfectly. They went down in the perfect position. But the problem is German Brait and I think it was I can't remember, it was one of the T69s or the AMX-1390s getting the cross shots on. Those AMX-1390s just don't have the penetration. 244 against the front of a T32 when it's not hull down, but the armor's kind of angled upwards. Bounce so many, I think 3 or 4 shells bounced against those T32s. Basically, the AMX-1390s can't go 1 versus 1 against the front of a T32. The only option they would have had is to basically flank around, go on the side of the T32, take it down. Everyone knows that. You're playing random battles. You can never go 1 versus 1, even if you're 2 versus 3 on a T versus 2, on a T32. It just doesn't work. You have to go around the side, you have to get the back, and you have to get the sides where it's a lot weaker. And then I think it would have been hard for them to survive anyway, but at least they can drop down once they kill those 2 T32s and then use the rest of their tanks who've got a little bit of HP to just basically finish off Kazna. But again, just a little bit timid, maybe a little bit slow in some respects, and that definitely punishes you.
Oh, it definitely does. And guys, just to keep you up to date, obviously, this has been a fantastic play day today. And actually, we've seen some important results coming through. So we started out with, it was EPS against C-Play, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was EPS looking good. They actually picked up quite a pretty convincing victory, I believe, for some time, but C-Play still looking good overall. Following that, TCM Lucky Karaki. That's the game I want to be looking back at. TCM, 2 maps in the bag. Solid performance until the very end, where Lucky Karaki decided, let's just turn the hell up and sort this out. And looking at the results so far, this is not the top 7, top 6 I didn't expect to see any of this apart from Virtus Pro there.
Yeah, 5 teams and 6 points already. We're having this kind of, you can see or straight away what teams will be at the offline finals. TCM, School Bus, Lucky Karaki, Evil Panda Squad, Drooling Leprechauns, all looking pretty strong. Kazakru, ultra strong, and I think they could have been even higher along with Virtus Pro if they had not managed to screw up against Wusa. C-Play, definitely a disappointment for me today. Against Evil Panda Squad, they should have definitely not gone 3-0 down, and they should have won that one full stop. Just honestly, I think they're a team full of young players. And I can see it in the way they play. They're shouting at each other.
Volatile.
Everyone's got a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
They're also very, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's, thinks they're better than everyone else. Maybe not be the case, but that's just what I can see in the general way they play. And of course, TCM losing against Lucky Karaki, but then Lucky Karaki are looking pretty damn hot red at the moment.
And then I've got to give it to Magus as well. Without him playing with TCM, then I don't know if they'd even got that far. His work on steps was second to none. Perfectly done to him. And then the last game, sadly, eSuba looking a little bit better than before, but not by the biggest margin that I expected. It's hard to doubt Kazna Crew. If you ignore the last mistake maybe they made against Wusa, they played that hap-handedly, didn't really judge it correctly, and maybe I took too much into that, thinking that eSuba could take them down. Clearly with Elian at the forefront of that lineup now with some other brilliant additions, it's a bit of a tough lineup to ever overcome. It's certainly someone to keep your eyes on going forward in here, as is Lucky Karaki. A lot of new teams stepping up. But what was your moment from today?
I think my favorite moment was when Lucky Karaki reacted to the 2 IS3s from TCM. Just perfect. And the fact that Lucky Karaki is really being very, very good at picking the right tanks on the right map. TCM definitely thought Lucky would bring those 2 50-100s like they have every other match day. They didn't. They countered it perfectly and they played it perfectly from there.
Well, that's something to go and watch back. Obviously, head over to the WGLEU.com and check it out for yourself. All the VODs will be up there. And just have a look through the site. Lots of articles, lots of information about the teams you've just watched. And obviously, there's more information coming because, as you can see right down below, you can head over towards Facebook and Twitter and get involved with who you think is going to be at the top of that ranking board next Playday. And speaking of the next Playday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check before I say it is on the 9th. So next week, make sure you follow this Twitch page. You should be notified as soon as we go live. Head over towards Facebook and Twitter. We put out tweets as soon as we go live as well. So you guys get to be as super informed as possible. And there are some very good games coming up. Very, very good games coming up. So even on that play day, Lucky Karaki against EPS, that would get Lucky Karaki pretty much at the top right now, alongside maybe Virtus Pro. C-Play against TCM. Let's see if C-Play was a fluke before and they looked really promising. Kazna against the Leprechauns. Now that's the game I'm looking forward to. How about you? I'm
looking forward to TCM versus C-Play.
Reckon something could happen there?
An underperforming team at the moment. I'm not sure if it's underperforming, but
it's
certainly
hard,
underperforming in the previous matchup against Evil Panda Squad. C-Play really do have the pressure on right now.
Definitely, because they'll be slowly but surely working their way down to the very, very bottom of that ranking board where no one wants to be. C-Play, with a great start, showed some real potential. It's kind of fizzled out. Hopefully they can relight their fires. So guys, make sure you rejoin us on the 9th. We'll be going live. We'll be here, and hopefully you'll be as well.